Hi.
This is chapter 3, pages 44 to 46.
Of the Augmentation of Man.
Correct.
It's Kent and Renee Miller.
We've been trying to get the lighting for the last 10 minutes.
Trying to do something different, but it's not working, so we went back to the way we were doing it.
I'm going to wear a clown hat. Okay.
Anyway, we're going to talk, start with the higher self again. It's part of the soul. It is what directs our path for learning. It recognizes when we're on the path, on our spiritual path, or not on our spiritual path, and helps us to reset where we're at.
So, well, yeah, we've been talking about cause and event for some years.
Cause and effect.
Cause and events, or cause and effect, basically the same thing, which has to do with a higher understanding and a higher learning, which one has to go through all these events. You may not like it. You may say, that was a negative event. I'm the one who never want to do that again. But whatever you go through, step back from it and think about why this event happened, what caused it. And if you can possibly do that, which most events you're able to do if you really try, then you can understand the cause and event. Then you're least likely to repeat it.
So each event in our life is meant for our evaluation and our introspection. And then we really would like to study what led up to the event. It's not so much the event itself, it is the decisions that were made that led up to the final event that we study and we learn and grow from.
Well, the higher self creates a vibrational pattern. And we're going to be discussing that in a lecture coming up at the end of this month. We're going to discuss the drum, the gong itself, things that create vibration. Well, I'm advertising our event at the Woodlands Library. Anyhow, it opens the door. The vibrational patterns either opens the door or creates a level of understanding. And you're talking about our relevance.
So your vibration, where you're at in your level of understanding, creates the quantum pathways that open doors for you. And then from that, events happen, and it's all for our higher understanding. So no matter what choice you make, you're going to have an event that you're going to have to learn from. And so the intent is that we introspect and we study the pathway that led up to it and grow and understand from different aspects.
Well, our relevance. Our relevance has to do with how much we understand as a species. Okay?
That's right.
And our ability to move the process along to understanding, engage in this process. Mm-hmm. Most humans do not engage in the process of understanding. They go from day to day, maybe from year to year, possibly from century to century, without engaging in the process of understanding why we're even here. Some never get down to the process.
What we really don't want to do is point the finger, because when one has that tendency of always shifting blame onto someone else, there is no introspection that occurs, and so therefore no higher understanding comes out of the event. So it's not about blame and it's not about fault. It is only about how can we learn from it and how can we grow from it.
And that's called our soul, which most are not aware of. They even have a soul, but they have a soul. It's created from the life force, which talking about the fields, the different fields. It's the life force connected to the Creator. If we cannot directly communicate with the Creator, we create with those under the Creator, which makes the Creator, what the Creator creates happens. Okay, we don't make it happen. they make it happen for our understanding.
And our higher self interfaces with the plasmic field, which carries the light, which is the higher understanding, the energy that delivers the higher understanding. So in that, that's where our higher self is interfacing and is connected to the universal consciousness.
Well, we're going to study about the fourth dimension a little bit here, that connects with our soul, and we don't connect with it through consciousness necessarily, but through our soul, which is trying to teach us, getting a basic understanding of spiritual concepts, what spiritual concepts are. And how do you get to the fourth dimension? Well, you can either get there by sleep, which dreams will help you to try to understand, or through meditation. But dreams are, what would you call it? Symbolic?
They're symbolic and they're metaphoric.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps to have a good dream dictionary. And we particularly like one called I Had the Strangest Dream. And but it, each one doesn't have everything contained, so it might help to have a couple of different resources. But it does help you understand what you're doing on the soul level and what you're trying to accomplish when you learn to interpret your dreams.
And we normally can't get to the soul. We're not.
The soul resides in the fourth dimension, and what separates this physical consciousness from the soul is a thin vibrational veil. So when you're meditating, you're able to raise your vibration to a level that's closer to where your soul is at.
At this time. It doesn't stay in the fourth dimension forever. It will go up in value as you go up in value.
So the object is to meditate, get into a higher vibrational level so that you can learn eventually how to tap into the stored knowledge of the soul, and then into even higher, into the neuronet, which is a large body of information, as we discussed with the last video.
Right, and as we learn, or we do not learn, the events are created by our taking a particular position before the event happens. And then we forget our position that we took. We have to stop and don't blame anyone else. Go back over the event and what might have caused it. If we don't do this, humanity is going to stay in the position it's been in for thousands of years. So what about karma?
So karma is what we've been told, not understood by humanity very much. Very few people understand karma. So we're going to try to explain that a little more depth. It is confusing because people use it in different contexts. And so we're going to give you something new to contemplate. So karma is a continuous vibrational release by the soul from the time of soul birth. And it is a vibrational release opening quantum pathways for learning and for events. And so the karma it's the vibrational scripting or writing of lifetimes, learnings, and it includes both sides, or multiple sides. So we're looking at events from one side or another side, or from different aspects. So what we want to do is to be able to see it from all different sides so that we fully understand it. So it gives us balance in our understanding.
What else does karma do? Is it part of the fourth dimension?
Well, the soul resides in the fourth dimension, so I suppose that those vibrational thought waves that come from the soul that help us in our decision making, and the karmic scripting of our decisions. I would think that it would come from the fourth dimension.
Okay, well, karma is a learning process. Okay, it is not a repeat of what you don't know, or what you didn't do, correct?
Karma is not the punishment or reward system. It is the ability to experience different ways or aspects of looking at things. So
would that be angular?
That would be angular learning. So if you think of something like in a circular 360 degrees, as you travel around that, and you're looking at the lesson, which might be in the center. Let's see, get something circular here. Okay, so here's something circular. This is the lesson in the center here. And we're traveling around and we're making decisions that result in events that we happen to be studying about this particular learning. Okay, so as we travel around and we repeat certain decision making, we're looking at that lesson from different angles, and that's called angular learning. So a lot of people are criticized for making the same mistakes. It's not necessarily the case unless we're not learning from it. But what we're doing is sometimes we repeat the same decision making so that we can view the lesson from another angle. And when the lesson is complete, we have 360 degree viewing of that lesson, and then we have our vibrational
so a lesson, you may have a lesson, and you may not learn from that lesson. So you meet someone else in your life, and it ends up having a lesson, which is basically the same lesson as you just left, and that doesn't work out. Well, you meet somebody else and another lesson. How long can these lessons go? And we don't know the length of time, because
whatever
it's all based
time
on
it takes,
when you'll learn.
Yeah, whatever time it takes to learn the lesson. So the important thing is the introspection again, because when we don't do that, then we're not learning, and we're just repeating and repeating until we finally get it.
And when we do have more understanding of who we are and what our job is here on earth, we have a behavioral change.
So as the learning is attained and the understanding is gained, then we have the vibrational attunement. And with that, then we don't have to repeat the lesson, and we don't want to repeat the lesson most of the time. And so we make different choices, which results in a behavioral change.
You know, the energy flows back and forth, crisscrosses each other. So
as we make decisions, my decisions that I make are going to crisscross with decisions that other people have made.
And it may interfere with one another.
Yeah, it's kind of this a flow of energies that are crisscrossing and redirecting us. And so perhaps I say something to someone and they, unintentionally, they take it offensively, and then they say something back to me.
Yeah. So it creates an event then.
That's your event. And so then I might alter the way that I would say something in the future so that I don't get the same response again because I offended someone.
Yeah.
So
as long
that's
as you're able to
how
see,
it works.
Because our communication as human beings is very inadequate, even though some will not say so or think so. If you could just think your thoughts, and a second person that you're trying to communicate with picks up your thoughts. Your thoughts are more specific than when you open your mouth and begin to speak, because then we lose the emotion, the value, and many times the words of what we're really trying to convey.
Yeah, and if we could communicate telepathically, we would also pick up on the feelings involved with that thought process too, which would give us a little more complete communication, and we wouldn't have the lack of communication we have now.
So again, you want to look at karma as an understanding, a path to leading to understanding and learning about our perceptive behavior.
So the fourth dimension is all about perceptual learning. It's about perception. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the truth. It's the way that we perceive things based on our environmental background, which happens to be the way we grew up, the way we were taught, what we've been exposed to. So this is what we are aiming to complete at this time. Perception has to do with the fourth dimensional learning. The soul is in the fourth dimension. We have a perception that we are separated from the soul because we don't have that connection. The veil exists and we can't really tap into all the memories of the soul. But that is where our goal is in completion of the fourth dimension before we move on.
So in closing, do not step into the stage of drama that we see all around us. Stand back from the events and drama that's taking on around you and look at the whole of the forest. Don't look at one tree. Begin to understand what is really happening, because you get involved in the drama, you're sucked into the play, you'll never see what's really going on. So therefore, you'll never know who you truly are.
And that's part of the completion of this fourth dimension, is learning who we really are at the soul level. So yeah, don't get distracted with all the drama. It's meant to be a distraction. It's meant to keep this transformation from happening. And so keep your eye on the goal and keep your eyes focused on the introspection and the learning that you can gain from each event that happens in your life.
With that, we hope you have a great week, and we will see you in a few days again.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye now.